Welcome, everyone, to the third episode of Happiest Stays, where we rate the resorts, the show where we pick apart, get down to the nitty gritty, talk about the most minute detail of resorts at the Walt Disney World Resort. I am your host, Shannon, and I'm joined by someone who knows a thing or two about resorts, Mr. Rob Whiteside. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. What are we talking about tonight?
Well, Rob, we are going to take a detour, which I mentioned on one of our recent shows. Have you ever stayed at the Walt Disney World Swan Dolphin or Walt Disney World Swan Reserve?
I haven't. I haven't because you know what? They don't feel like Disney hotels to me because A, they're not owned by Disney, and B, I feel like that's property that should be Disney. Like anytime that there's like a hotel or something that's not Disney, whether it's Bonnet Creek or Flamingo Crossing and it's on Disney property, I always think to myself, man, I wish that was like a Disney hotel. So I've never stayed. I haven't even really been inside too much other than to just like walk in and look. So are you going to convince me that I should stay here?
Yeah, I'm absolutely here to change your mind because I used to have the same exact mindset. I mean, as you know, Rob, I am a Crescent Lake snob. I do enjoy a stay at the yacht club, which is right next door to these resorts. Uh, but, after I poo-pooed it for so long and tried it for the first time, my mind was changed. So I'm here to change Rob's mind. I'm here to open all of your minds to the possibilities of these resorts. Now, I mentioned in our rules at the beginning of the show when we first started it that any hotel on the Walt Disney World property is up for review, and this includes non-Disney owned resorts. So that is why today we are taking a detour. We've done a Disney Deluxe resort, we've done a Disney Moderate resort, and tonight we're going to talk about a resort on Disney property that is not owned by Disney. So the Walt Disney World Swan Resort, it's located on property in that EPCOT resort area between EPCOT and Hollywood Studios, prime real estate, but we'll get into that later. I mentioned it's owned by Marriott, and it is technically a Westin. So Marriott has 4 hotel categories, unlike Disney. So Disney has value, moderate, and deluxe. Marriott actually has, I believe it's longer stays, select, premium, and luxury. So this is going to be that third tier, which is premium. So you can find the Walt Disney World Swan either on Marriott's website or the Walt Disney World website. So 2 different ways in which you can find information and book your stay. But a little bit about the Swan. According to their website, the Swan is a 12-story stunning design with 2 signature 56-foot tall mythical swan statues atop the iconic building overlooking EPCOT and Hollywood Studios. This isn't so unique anymore now that you have things like Grandestino Tower. Towers were not typically a thing that you found on for Disney properties. So that's part of the reason why I like it. But here is the magical thing. At an average price between $250 and $350 a night, you get Disney moderate resort rates with Disney deluxe amenities and convenience. Now, doesn't that sound great, Rob? Don't you want to go run and book a room at the Swan?
Still no. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you can get great rates at the Disney Springs
Can
hotels.
you walk to Epcot?
You got me there. You got me there. I know. You know what? You can't take a Skyliner though. I guess we're going to talk about that later. I guess you can take a Skyliner
I
away
don't think
from it.
that's entirely true,
Yeah, you can
but
take it away
we'll get
from
to
it.
it.
Yeah. Okay.
Now, as always, we're going to get started with our dining, and we're only going to be talking about the dining that is found in the Swan Resort or that is shared like in the pool areas. We will not be talking about anything in the Dolphin or in Swan Reserve. So there's one grab and go location in the Swan Resort. It's called Java. And it has a lot of grab and go items, and it does also serve as the counter service, but we'll get to that in a bit. This is it. It looks really nice and spacious. What we can't see behind us is there is a seating area, so there's not a seating area immediately in there. But down to the right, you'll have your refrigerated items, lots of snack. They have beer and alcohol. My favorite aspect of this, if you're used to staying at the Disney resorts and you're used to doing mobile order on My Disney Experience, you'll see that sign right there, a QR code. You can mobile order at this location. And what I really loved about this place, they have always been efficient. Whether I mobile order, whether I wait in line, they're always super quick. I love the breakfast foods. I think it's really high quality. I think the coffee is high quality. Um, doesn't that just look delicious? Now, Rob, you know that I have complained about some things on this show when it pertains to grab and go and counter service. Do you know
Not
what
you.
that
You don't
is?
complain about anything. You're always happy.
Yeah, that is true. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, my complaint has been, as a rope dropper. Now, Rob, I forget. Are you a rope dropper? Or you're not
Oh
a
no.
rope dropper.
Oh no, mornings are not my friend, and especially if I'm
Oh
on vacation. That's
man.
why I was always against virtual queue, because you had to get up at 6:50 on your vacation to do stuff. But not you. You're probably already like at 8 parks by the time 6:50 rolls around, aren't you?
Yes, yes. And my major complaint in some of these other resorts that we've covered is the time. A lot of them open at 7 a.m. And that's not going to cut it for rope dropping Animal Kingdom now, is it?
No, no,
But
ma'am.
here's the great news: Java opens at 6 a.m. Woo! Love
You
it.
know what? This is going to be as valuable to me as the gym is. Is like, yeah, it's great that it's there for other people, but not something I'm going to be using. But I'm glad it's there for you. I'm glad it's
Oh.
there for you.
Well, I am someone who also likes to get a little sweet treat, a little snack at the end of the day when you're tired, even when I've already consumed 10,000 calories walking around the park. So the bummer here is that it closes at 8 on weekdays. It's open until 10 on Fridays and Saturdays. But for me, I'm a morning person. So given the high quality, the efficiency, the good hours, I'm giving this an overall score of 4 for the grab and go. Now let's talk about it in terms of counter service. I already mentioned the high quality food. Coffee is great. There is seating outside. The only downside here, the only knock I'm going to give it, is that the theming isn't there. If you've been to a Marriott, it looks like a Marriott or any other Marriott counter service location. So that is a bummer. But I feel like when you're staying here, and Robbie already mentioned this, it's like you kind of go in knowing that it's not going to be a Disney hotel. So to me, it doesn't bother me that much. Yeah. Like, I mean, look at that variety, though. I feel like you do not get that variety. At least when I stay at the yacht club, they do not have that large selection of snacks. So I'm giving it a 4 also for counter service. Now we're going to move on to probably Rob's favorite, which are lounges and bars. Have you, yeah, I know you've not stayed here, but have you ever gone to any of the lounges and bars?
Have I said lounges and bars are my favorite? Um. Okay.
All the
No.
time.
No. Yeah. Different. Must be with the other Rob. No. I honestly have not been in here. I've only started my like lounge, like vision quest, for lack of a better term, in the past few years, and I certainly have not been here. But are you going to tell me that is this better than going to Dahlia? You were talking about Dahlia last time we were on the show.
Oh, I'm not sure if it's as great as Dahlia, but they do have many options, which considering that the Swan, I like staying there over the Dolphin personally because it is much, much smaller. The building itself is very small. But given that it is smaller, it does have a pretty wide variety of options in terms of dining and lounges and bars. So we'll begin with my least favorite. It's called Chill. It's just basically like a counter when you walk in the back entrance of the hotel. So, say you're walking in from EPCOT or Studios in the back of the hotel, it'll kind of be right caddy corner across from Il Molino. It's mostly these frozen pre-made drinks, both alcoholic and non-alcoholic. There's a few tables, but it's in a rather large space by those doors heading out to the park. So it's not really a place that you really want to sit and enjoy a drink. There is this teeny tiny TV, and they do sell some snacks like a soft pretzel. But I'll be honest, I got the soft pretzel; it was really terrible. and the frozen drink was terrible too. So I'm giving this a really bad score. I mean, two. I'm giving it a two versus a one because I feel like it is unique and it's there for whoever wants it. But I am not that audience. Moving on to Il Molino, which is right next door. This is an Italian restaurant. I believe it is a chain, but we're just going to be talking about the bar and lounge aspect right now. There are no TVs, but ample space at the bar. There are surrounding high tops. The drinks are served from about 3:30 to 11, so decent hours there. It is very convenient from the room and lobby, but for me in particular, I love I my husband and I enjoy watching TV, like if there's a sporting event going on. I feel like this is really only convenient if you're having dinner there, which I'm not going to be doing anytime soon. So I'm also going to give this a two, which is probably really harsh, but not a fan. Now, this is what surprised me, Rob, that you haven't tried. It's kimonos. Have you ever heard of kimonos?
No, you were talking about. I'm thinking Komodo dragon, but that's not. You
Oh,
were talking about kimonos, like the thing you wear. Like that's the name of this place.
yes. Yes.
Okay. Is
You don't
it's
know
got to
what's
be
so
your
special
favorite?
about it?
No, it's got to be your favorite because you kind of downplayed the other two, right?
Wow. Well, I mean, here's the thing. It's unique. It's a sushi restaurant, which I can appreciate. There's not a whole lot of sushi type options around. It's open later from 5:30 to 7:30. But do you know, Rob, what starts at 9:30 p.m. there? Take a
I'm gonna.
guess.
Is it fireworks?
Nope. One more.
What am I missing? I don't know.
It's karaoke. Who doesn't love
Oh Lord.
karaoke?
Oh my
Could you?
God.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and look at it. It's like a smaller space. I mean, can you
What's
imagine sitting there at the end of the night with a bunch of drunk people and seeing some karaoke from park goers?
Well, now that Jelly Rolls is closed, I'm sure this is a great place to go for some evening entertainment. What's your song of choice? Is it Islands in the Stream? Is that it?
Oh, I don't know. I've not participated, but I'll let you know when I do.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Well, so and I'm going to give it a high score because of that, a four. I just think this is really unique. This is not something that you see every day. And I think it's a great entertainment option, whether you want to participate or whether you enjoy people watching and get a good laugh at other people. It's great. So next, we'll move on to the pool area. We have Cabana Bar and Beach Club. This is going to be over at the feature pool. So this is technically shared with Dolphin, but seeing at the bar itself is really nice. My husband and I sat there. I should have prefaced this by saying I just stayed at the Swan Resort back in June, so my takes are fresh, my pictures are fresh, and it was my first time eating and having a drink at this particular location. And I really enjoyed it. They had really, really great onion rings. So if you are a fan of onion rings, go to that bar and get some. Bartenders were efficient, especially for such a big pool area. And it's open from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. 8 p.m. seems a little early to close, but those 8 p.m. hours are killing us. I give it a solid four. It's a good pool bar. And last but not least, you have the splash pool bar. Now, this is pretty unique. This is actually over at the Swan pool. So the Swan has its own pool. You can think of it like a quiet pool that most of the Disney resorts have. It's smaller. It's not really themed. It's nothing special. However, this particular pool has its own bar, which is just really nice because the other feature pool and bar area is kind of a far walk over. So I'm going to give that a three. It's not as nice as the main bar, but it's really nice that it's there for you. So overall, rounding out our lounges, we have a total score of 3, which is not bad. Middle of the road. So table service, we'll go through this quickly because I did touch upon all these already in terms of their lounge aspects. But kimonos, it's small. I think the food is unique and pretty good, and they have that entertainment factor. So it's still going to come in strong at a 4. Il Molino, it doesn't get great reviews. It's really nothing special, and I'll be honest with you, I'm probably biased. I live in the tri-state area. I Whenever my husband and I travel, the one thing he says when we think about going out to eat and dining, anything but Italian, because we're spoiled with really good Italian food.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Where's the best Italian at Walt Disney World? Because everybody makes fun of Tony's. Mama Melrose is closed. This place doesn't
Mhm.
get good vibes. What is the best Italian to eat? Like, if you love Italian food and you don't want just
Yeah.
something Italian food ish, what do you recommend? It's not this place. So then I always assumed it was this place because it's like it's
Yeah.
because I've never been there. But
Well, I don't. Maybe this will be controversial, but I via Napoli, I think their pizza is great, and surprisingly, Pizza Ponte in Disney Springs. I
the
once got
Edison at
when you,
the Edison building.
yeah, it's next.
Okay.
It's like connected to the Edison, and they have grab and go slices, and I tried it the one time because I heard that it was decent pizza, and I was sitting outside by myself eating a slice, and was saying how good it was. There was a couple next to me. They actually live nearby, just so happened, and they agreed that it was pizza that was comparable to up here. And there was another person too that was from New York, and they're like, yeah, the pizza is honestly not bad at all.
All right, good to know.
So
I was
yeah.
curious because again, if this wasn't the place, I was wondering what was.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. There's definitely not a lot of great Italian food out there, but comment if you think that something is better or worse, let us know. If you think Il Molino is great, let us know. But I'm giving it a 2. Sorry, not sorry. And finally, Cabana Bar and Beach Club. So even though it is a bar, it has a bar you can sit at, it has like grab and go for drinks. You actually can sit down and have table service there, which I thought was really nice, especially for the pool. If you're having a pool day and you want a decent lunch and you don't want to go very far, it's really nice that that's there. The food was really good, and again, open 11 to 8. I give it a 4. So overall, that brings our table service to another 3. So really not bad so far. Swan is looking good. I know, Rob. I know I haven't swayed you yet, but we're going to venture over into the world of transportation. Now,
Uh
do you
oh.
know anything about the buses at this
I
resort?
I not specifically at this resort. I know I'm usually not a fan of buses, but
Oh,
I know that
really?
they're a necessary evil when it comes to this. I know you and I have this out all the time. Like
I
the
know.
Skyliner again. I get that the Skyliner is over at Epcot, but the Swan is on the other side. So I'm not going to spoil anything. So you just tell me what's so awesome about the buses.
Well, there's something that's not so awesome about the buses. So I tend to forget. I know a lot of people rent cars when they go down there. I never do. I never have. I always rely on Disney transportation to get me around. So this is going to be one of the biggest bummers, in my opinion, of staying at the Swan Hotel. And that is that you don't have Disney buses. There are buses, which I guess is a positive, but they're not going to take you to the same locations. And what does that mean? So when you stay at a Disney hotel or resort, you are going to get dropped off at Magic Kingdom right by the ticket booth. So across from Seven Seas Lagoon. If you're staying at the Swan or Dolphin or Swan Reserve, you will only get dropped off at the Transportation and Ticket Center. So you'll still have to take the ferry or the monorail over to Magic Kingdom. Similarly, at Disney Springs, you get dropped off in that back area behind Cirque du Soleil. So not going to be in the main Disney bus loop, which I don't really like. I don't care for. So that stinks. Because of it, you get a 2.0. Boo. Um, but at least it's there. It's there if you need it. Um, Monorail, that's an easy zero. There is no monorail. You can technically access the monorail from Epcot, but that doesn't count. Now to Rob's favorite and my least favorite, the Skyliner. So, although the Swan technically does not have a Skyliner stop, you can utilize the Epcot Skyliner station much like you can when you stay at Yacht, Beach, or Boardwalk. But really, it's a long walk. It's a You can take the boat there technically if you want, but where it's going to take you, that will take you to Riviera and then the Caribbean Beach transfer station, which ultimately, if you're trying to get to a park, it's going to take you to Hollywood Studios, in which case you could walk way faster or take the boat way faster. So it's really only a benefit if you're going to Riviera, say, let's say for dining. Other than that, I don't think it's worth it. So I'm going to give it a 2. But here's where it gets great. We do take a positive turn in transportation, and that's going to be the boat and the walking path. So the Swan does share a boat launch with the Dolphin. What's really nice is that you can get from the lobby to the boat launch mostly covered. So although it's like a not it's not the shortest walk, but it's not the longest walk either. We talked on the Yacht Club episode how they also have their own boat launch, but you do have to walk outside in the elements to get to the boat. But here you can walk out back, and it's again mostly covered the whole way. It can take you to 2 parks and 2 resorts. So I think that's huge personally. Rob, do you ever take the friendship boats?
Uh, I think we did it once or twice from Yacht, and I know that was a big thing for
Okay.
you, but no, it just seems like there are too many stops. Like I feel like I could walk there faster than I could take the boats.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you generally can. You generally can, but sometimes I like to just do it as kind of like an activity. Um, so that's just me. But the boat gets a 5 because I just think you get a lot of bang for your buck, where it can
5
take
out of
you
5.
5 out of 5.
Wow. So can I ask a question? So this is the property map for the Swan, and you can see the convention center there, and it says Swan main entrance. Where does
Yep.
the bus pick you up from this place? Is it right there at that Swan main entrance circle?
Yep, it's going to be on the right side of the screen, and the if you do Mears, formerly known as Magical Express, it's going to be down a little further, and not quite in front of the convention center, but along the left side of that loop.
Gotcha. And then this pink T in the middle here, where my
That's
cursor
it.
is, that's the boat launch for the famous 5 out of 5 boat.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you were to follow that purple lines going out the back, that's your little covered walkway there.
Nice.
And if you were to go out the back and make an immediate right, that's where you're going to get your walking path. So the walking path, it's the same one that you'd utilize for Yacht and Beach and Boardwalk. So it can either take you to Epcot or Hollywood Studios, and you just can't beat the convenience. Um, I scored this a 4 instead of a 5 because it is a touch longer. It is a little longer than if you were staying at the Disney resorts there, but overall, let's see where we stand with transportation. 2.6. So, unfortunately, the lack of Skyliner, I mean, the lack of monorail, the low Skyliner, and the low bus score bring that down. Uh, but you still have the boat and walking path. So, there's your silver lining.
Nice.
Now, let's talk about the rooms. And I didn't know. I was pleasantly surprised, and I did try to take as many photos as I could. The rooms have recently been upgraded. Now, Rob, but have you seen these rooms before? And when you looked at these pictures, I don't know, did you have any thoughts about them?
I mean, they're nice. They're very. I'm going to use the word clean. I mean, I do see a throw rug in this one right here.
Yeah,
I know how you feel about the throw rugs or the
we love a
rugs.
throw rug.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
But
again,
this,
it's got that very I don't want to say sterile, but very clean feel that they seem to be going for in the Disney resorts at this point, right?
Somewhat. I guess I'm a little happier because the rooms were pretty dated, and considering especially that this is a Westin, I felt like it needed a facelift, and this felt like a nice facelift. Now, you know, one of my other complaints on this show. Do you remember? It was in that
Well,
picture. That's your hint.
is it in this picture?
Yeah, it is.
I don't know. What is their complaint about this one?
The floors. I got rid of the carpet.
Oh, oh yeah.
But here's the thing. Unlike the Disney resorts, there was absolutely no noise. Now, I didn't have a connecting door, and I know that can tend to make a big difference, but it worked in this case. I wasn't bothered by the vinyl floors because I could not hear my neighbors at all. So that was really nice. Now, access to the room is covered, and it's generally a short walk to the elevator. I always like to include this because we talked about Coronado Springs recently, and those rooms, if you are in the lobby and you need to get back to your room and it's a Florida thunderstorm, well, you are out of luck. You are going to get rained on, and that kind of stinks. So, that is, again, a really nice perk, especially for the amount of money that you're paying to spend here. There's 756 rooms in total. Your options are two queens or a king. And the reason why I call that out is because over at the Dolphin, spoiler alert, you still have the king option, but they have double beds in the rooms with two beds. So I have shared rooms at the Dolphin with my parents before, and putting two adults in a double sized bed is just not fun. Not for me personally. Um, and the rooms are a decent size. They're 340 square feet compared to something like the Yacht Club. The Yacht Club is slightly bigger, but ample storage. They do have balconies or windows. So the balconies are a downer due to the lack of privacy, but it's still nice that it's an option, especially in a taller building. So you do have the two chairs, the little table, but see how you could like your neighbors are right next door. I know, Rob, you're not someone who tends to spend time in the room, but excuse me, I like to enjoy my coffee on the balcony, and I don't really want my neighbor staring at me.
How
That's
many
just
people
me.
do you usually run into out there, though? Because I feel like it's sort of rare to have people who like to sit out on the balcony. I could be wrong. Plus, you're up at the crack
This
of
is
dawn, so like, who's actually out there with
oh,
you?
it's really funny you asked that. This is TMI, but I went out there in a robe, and the person immediately to my right was out there, and I was like, oh, I guess I should go back in.
Well, I mean, it
Oh,
happens, but I mean, it's a really nice view, especially, with the tree. Although I guess we're on the backside here and could see the Swan Reserve or and the Dolphin from where you were.
yeah, and that pool right there, that is the quote unquote quiet pool in that little hut type building straight behind that pool. That is going to be the pool bar there. You'll see some cabanas that you can rent. So just really beautiful, and that was going to be part of the thing I talk about here when it comes to the room views. When we talked about the yacht club, we said how the views on the lakeside or the water view side are really beautiful and stunning and so worth the price. But if you get stuck on the front side of the resort, you're looking at trees, you're looking at backstage area, and it's just really unpleasant. But I think at the Swan, whether you're staying on this backside or the other side, which is essentially going to face the river that flows to Hollywood Studios, you really don't get a bad view here, which I really appreciate. Now, in terms of room amenities, the coffee maker it's that really basic pod. So it's not even a Keurig, which I mean is kind of a bummer, but I feel like Java makes up for it. It's a really easy walk down to get good coffee. Now, Rob knows how much I love talking about the bathrooms. So let's get into it.
We're gonna do it. We're
How
gonna
do
talk
you
about the
feel?
bathrooms.
Yeah, how do you feel about this like split bathroom design that we start to see happening a lot?
You mean like where one has like the sinks and the commode, and the other one has like the shower or the bathtub? That split,
Yeah,
is that what we're talking
yeah,
about?
yeah.
It depends. I like it at the Polynesian because somebody can be in the shower slash bath, and then somebody can be in the shower at the same time when you're in a room with like your entire family. But the fact that there's only one toilet is usually a little bit like that's. I don't know why they couldn't put two in if they're doing the rest of the thing, but it feels very cruise shippy because I feel like that's another thing that
It is.
sometimes they have on the cruise ships. Are you going to tell me you don't like that?
I generally do, but we'll look at some pictures here. When you first look at the bathroom area, there is a separate sink area. This is the toilet section, but in front of that, there will be a sink. Opposite that will be a closet, which has some nice storage. And generally, I like that. I like that there's a sink in the toilet area and there's a sink outside so that someone could be brushing their teeth while someone's in the shower, etc. But I feel like it didn't work here. So at first glance, this looks great, but I have a problem. And the problem is the clearance of the door and the toilet bowl. And this is probably Rob thinks I'm absolutely crazy. I was showing him this video before we started. But I mean, no one find this absolutely ridiculous? So you have to commit to that door being open or closed, and it just becomes a pain when I'm trying to get out of the shower and trying to open the door. It's like you got to wedge yourself to the left of the toilet bowl so you can swing the door this way. It almost feels to me like the room was designed to be one big bathroom, but then they decided to be trendy at some point in time and throw a door in the middle. I just think you might as well put the door on the outside and call it a day. I mean, does that bother you, Rob, or am I crazy?
Oh, you're crazy. No, for sure. I don't know that honestly, I don't know that it ever would have occurred to me until you pointed that out. So I just was like, I don't know.
I
Now
do.
I'm mad about it. Now I'm like never going to stay at the Swan ever. I can't believe you would have. I thought you were going to sell me on this. Now I'm mad at it.
Oh, it's a minor inconvenience. It really is. But I did. The reason why I wanted to point it out, not just because aesthetically it's funny to look at that video of that like inch clearance. It really was at times a little difficult to navigate. You have to stand at a certain point to open the door. But the bathroom is beautiful. The shower is a really nice size. So, I can't complain too much. Yeah, they have the in-wall shampoo, conditioner, like you're going to find at the Disney resorts. I don't know. I BYOS. I bring my own shampoo anyway. So that's just me. Um, Now, generally, I really like this room and I am giving it a really high score. But there is one thing that upsets me about it. And Rob, I'm not even going to ask you to guess because you're probably not going to guess it. But there is no resort TV, and that really stinks.
So what is
However,
this?
I
This is
that
Resort TV at Old Key West. Oh, see, I saw this in with your pictures. I was like, oh, that's crazy. They have Resort TV, but you're showing me this because you're like they don't have Resort TV.
and I'm showing you this because I just pull it up on YouTube, and sure, it's the wrong date, it's the wrong information, it's the wrong resort, but it still gives me. So although they don't have resort TV, they do have YouTube, which I don't know if you noticed this, Rob. The last several times I've stayed at Disney resorts, they seem to block YouTube, which aggravates me.
What do you mean block YouTube?
Every time I try to stream YouTube at a Disney resort, it tells me like that service isn't available.
Oh, interesting. Oh, well, I wouldn't know because all I do is pull up Disney Plus like I'm supposed to.
The Disney Plus that you paid for and they won't give you for free while you're
Yep,
staying at the
that's the
resort.
one.
Okay,
That's the one.
got it. Yeah. So although that would normally knock down a point for me not having resort TV, I can bring resort TV to my room. So We're giving this a strong 5. I'm giving the room a strong 5, and people probably don't see that coming, but I just think it has a lot going for itself, and again, especially for the price point and the location. So let's move right along, getting close to the end here. But pools, we know that Rob is grumpy pants and doesn't like going to the pools because the parks are more important to him. But the pools are very important to me. This is a great feature pool. Are you telling me that you wouldn't want to spend a day here, Rob?
I'm telling you that if I'm choosing between this pool or Space Mountain or Guardians of the Galaxy or the Food and Wine Festival, I'm going to say that I can do a pool somewhere else. It is very pretty. I guarantee that this is going to be a draw for a lot of people, but
Mm-hmm.
it's nice.
It's
It's a nice
very
pool.
large. So if you can see all the way to the right here, there is a bridge. There is also a bridge just out of view on the left. So this pool connects really far. It stretches really far to the right and left. And this grotto, we call it the grotto area. So the waterfall under there, it's really hard to see, but there are lounge chairs. There are actually bathrooms back there. There are hot tubs. There's a slide. And like I said earlier, there is a quote unquote quiet pool for the Swan on its own. So a lot of options. I will say this pool does have more of an adult feel than many of the Disney resorts. Personally, I like that. That's great for me. Um, you can even have drinks in the pool, which if you've been to Disney a Disney pool and had a lifeguard yell at you real quick, even though you have a plastic cup, you are not allowed to have any kind of beverages in the pool. Here you can. Uh, I love that personally. It is a longer walk from the Swan, so be prepared to sweat a little on your way. And here is where I knock this down. Now, if you all watched my episode on the Yacht Club, Storm Along Bay, that was a 5 out of 5. Like there was no touching. That pool is just absolutely incredible. And this is an extremely strong contender. However, I did run into what I'd consider to be a pretty big issue in this last trip, and it's something called Resort Pass. Rob, have you ever heard of this?
I have not. What is Resort Pass? Is that, I mean, I feel like I've got, usually I'm buying Lightning Lanes and I've got my Disney Visa and DVC. What is this something else I need to buy? Do I need Resort Pass?
Not if you're staying here, but I've seen it happen or be available at a lot of resorts across Florida. So recently, when I stayed in West Palm Beach, they had the same situation, which really made me upset because we were paying a lot of money to use the amenities at the resort. And come to find that this thing called Resort Pass is a thing. So, what it is, let's say you're a local and you want to enjoy that beautiful feature pool. Well, just open your wallet. You can buy a resort pass for a day and you get to use that pool like everyone who's staying at the hotel. Would that make you upset?
I mean, I don't love it, especially if like that's one of the amenities you're enjoying as a guest. But yeah, I mean, was it really crowded? It is a nice pool.
Extreme, extremely. There were some days where it was normal, but this particular day was a Saturday. And I mean, you might as well be touching other bodies in that giant pool. And it's just really, the reason why I learned of this is there was a couple in the pool next to me and they were talking about it. They said, we live around here and we just love being able to enjoy these. Now, like, I also don't know how this is managed because another downside is that you can just walk into this pool area. It's not like Stormalong Bay where they're checking your room key. So maybe you're a sucker for buying the resort pass because they're not checking it anyway. But I think they need to manage that pool a little better, personally.
So let me ask you this. We were talking about, like, again, looking at the property, and you were saying how the Swan, it's a longer walk to that grotto pool. And I guess here's the grotto pool up
Yep.
here. And then if I look, here's the Dolphin. So it looks like because of this lake area in front of it, that the Dolphin or the Swan sits a little further back from that
Yeah,
pool?
so you can, yep. So the Dolphin, you can go kind of right out the side there where that number 14 is. And a rectangular pool right there is technically there. The Dolphins, quote unquote, quiet pool, I wouldn't even call it quiet. It's not. But that's their standard pool. And then it leads right into the grotto area, the grotto pool. So,
That is interesting because I was reading this as there were two quiet pools for the Swan, but you're right. This does lend itself to be the one for the Dolphin, but it's so close to the feature pool. It almost doesn't seem
yes.
like it's a separate pool. It seems like it's part of that grotto pool area.
Yeah, it
Interesting.
is kind of one big area. Yeah. So, and that number 3 is where you're going to find the Cabana um, Beach Bar
Gotcha.
area. Yeah. So I'm going to give it a 4. I think it's worthy of a 5, but if they clean their act up, and I will give them props. I am someone who will always take a survey when given to me. When Disney sends me those surveys, I am so quick to take them. And but I never hear anything. Now I took a survey following my stay at the Swan, and I mentioned this particular issue about the resort pass, and the manager actually emailed me personally about it. So I really appreciated that. I thought that was a nice touch. Now, whether they do anything about it is yet to be seen. But we'll move on. We already talked about the quiet pools. So when we talk about amenities and recreation, we have those quiet pools. We have the fitness center that we know Rob frequents. There is a playground area for kids, which was over by that grotto pool area. So, and I kind of like that they try to keep this area shady. Sometimes I look at the playgrounds around Disney property and I'm like, any child who touches this playground is going to get a third-degree burn. But they do a nice job with the what do you call it, the greenery around there to keep it. Now, something that is again really unique about this resort: Swan boat rentals. Now we used to have those little mouse boats, I believe they were called, that you could rent from Yacht and Beach or like the Poly, and I think those all went by the wayside after COVID. But they still have these paddle swan boats that are really cute, and it's just something else for you to do, especially if you have family. It's a fun activity that you can take around that little lake area. So overall, I'm going to give the amenities and recreation a 3. The piece de resistance, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but location on property, I think we've already beat it to death. It's right in the middle of the magic, I'd consider, between Hollywood Studios and Epcot, multiple ways to get to both of them. It's going to be a solid 5 out of 5. And it goes without saying why I love staying here. Um, Now, in terms of the resort grounds, the lobby and the shopping, I already said it's a small resort, and because of that, the lobby falls really short. So you don't get the Disney theming. Oh, I did take a picture. There's a nice swan fountain in the middle, and I love a water feature. It has good uh, noise. What do you call it? Ambient noise. So it's not the ugliest lobby by any means. It's nice, but it is pretty small. And then you have Disney Cabanas. That is going to be the store. So it is pretty small, but it does have general Disney merch and snacks as well as like sundries. It's nothing special, but that does try to give you that Disney feel. So don't feel like there's absolutely no Disney here. There is a little bit, but I'm going to give it overall a 2. So that that covers just about everything for our resort, our kind of overall score for the grounds and the lobby and shopping and feature pool, etc. All came out to a 3.5. So drum roll please for the overall resort score after ranking everything. This is actually the highest we've had so far, which is a 4. And I think that's going to shock a lot of people. Rob, after having heard about the resort, do you think it's deserving of that?
I don't know. You seemed a little down on the food options, other than the opening early of the counter service. So, like, that was something. I think you were lackluster on the lounges in general. And then, like, the toilet thing really held you up. Like, now that you've shown me that there's only like an inch between the door and the toilet, I'm not really sure I can stay there, Shannon. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, I get what you're saying about
No.
location, though. It is a great location, and I get what you're saying about value, because the value of, like you said, paying for a moderate price at what is looks like the amenities of a deluxe and the location of a deluxe, that's got to go a long way, because you're getting more value out of your trip. And if you don't go often and you want to be able to stay on property and close to the magic, this is, I think, the closest, cheapest that you could probably get that's on property and looks like it's a nice place.
Yes.
So,
And if you're a Marriott Bonvoy member, then you can use your points here. And that is huge. One of I feel like the running jokes of when I tell people who are not, Disney fans that I go every year, they're like, wow, you must get like great rewards. And every time I'm like, oh no, Disney does not have any kind of rewards program because they don't need to. But, because we're all suckers and we'll just keep coming back. But I not only do I get points for staying at other Marriott hotels, but I actually convert my American Express points. It's like a 1-for-1 exchange to Marriott points. So I have multiple times stayed here for quote unquote free. You still have to pay like the tax and the like the resort nightly resort fee, but where else can you say that I'm staying on Disney property for essentially free? You can't. And nothing really beats that. And do I stay there for like a week long trip? No. It tends to be my go to if I want a quick weekend. I've even split a trip before. I've stayed 4 nights here and then 4 nights at the yacht club because I need my yacht club fill. But check it out. Don't be discouraged like Rob and like I used to be, where I was like, oh, it's an ugly building, sight lines. I think you would all be pleasantly surprised.
can I ask one question though? You were talking about, what did you call it? Cabanas is the name of the gift shop.
Yeah.
Is that correct? I was
Yeah.
looking it up while you were here. Is this Cabanas?
Yes.
I just was thrown off by this Disney Planning Center and Gifts. Like, I may hesitate to go into a place called Disney Planning Center thinking I'm going to get like DVC going in there. Like, oh, thank you. Come in,
uh,
buy some gifts, and also can we sell you a timeshare? No?
they may have changed the name and I may have had that wrong. But yeah, they do have, I want to say there are cast members working in there. So I think Disney, I would have to double check this, but Disney may actually own that little gift shop. And I know like over at the Dolphin they do have a like Disney guest services type desk where you can ask questions about parks and tickets and whatnot. So, it's not entirely sterile Marriott. There is some magic sprinkled there. So, appreciate you all tuning in and joining. Leave comments if you agree, if you disagree, if you think I'm a terrible person. Special shout out to our Patreon, patreon.com/go pack. All of our pack members, we thank you so much for supporting us and keeping us going. I'm always looking for recommendations for what we want to do next. I saw some people when I said we were kind of taking a detour for this next episode, we're saying Pop Century, and you know what? Maybe we'll just venture there next, or maybe not. Maybe we'll go someplace completely different. But appreciate you all joining, tuning in. Thank you for your support, and we'll see where we go next time.